Welcome back to the course. In this video, we're gonna be learning about the four market phases. Okay, the four market phases, and I'm gonna teach you guys the complete market cycle, which is the framework that everything else is built on. Okay, so let's get started. So, what is the complete cycle? Well, the markets cycle through four phases. Okay, and it's not a one-time thing. Okay, the cycle repeats over and over and over again. All right, and I have a chart here that you can see, and I'll show you what it means. Okay, so the first phase in that cycle is the accumulation phase, where the institutions are buying. Okay, it's there. Okay, so that's the phase one. Okay, where institutions are buying. All right, and I'll actually show you guys in the chart there. Okay, um, let me actually take it like that. Yeah. So this is your accumulation phase. Okay, phase one, where accumulation is happening and institutions are buying. Okay, all right. The second phase is your markup phase, where market goes up. That's your second phase. Okay, price trends up. The third is distribution phase, where institutions are selling. The institutions are selling there. That's your phase three, right? This draws funny sometimes. All right. Now the fourth phase is your markdown phase, where price trends down. So that's your fourth phase. Okay, and this cycle repeats over and over and over again for all of the market throughout time, throughout history, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and this is what it looks like. Okay, it looks like this, a sine wave, like that. Okay, so here accumulation is going to happen, markdown or markup, sorry, then distribution phase happens, and then markdown, right, like that. So if we have a sine wave like that, you already know what's going to happen after this, right? The cycle is going to repeat like that, you know. So you can and you can actually see that here. Okay, like, see, this was your phase four, right? The markdown phase. After that, accumulation happens, and then, like, again, guys, like, this thing, you can't, once you see it, you can't unsee it, and like, this is the true nature of the market. All right, so yeah. So phase one, accumulation, um, this is what that was, phase one, accumulation. All right, now I'm just gonna, like, let this one run and just remove this one there. Okay, so that whatever comes there stays there. Okay, so this is where, phase one accumulation is where institutions build their positions. Okay, um, so after a downtrend, you can see, after this downtrend over there, uh, right here, after this downtrend, what's happening is that the institutions are buying here, you see, and absorbing supply. All right, so after downtrend, what happens is price stops going down. It's not going down anymore, it stopped there and starts going sideways. You can see the market is going sideways there, right? Now, the characteristics of the accumulation phase is that the price in a range after downtrend. You can see the price is in range after the downtrend. Okay, so let me remove that quickly and, like, show you. That's why, I have an indicator drawing this automatically. So this is your markdown phase, this is your accumulation phase, this is your markup phase, this is your, again, markdown phase. Okay, after distribution. All right, because when indicator plateaus like that and changes direction, that's your like either so in this case this is accumulation, in this case this was distribution. Okay, so characteristic two is that the volume declining during the range. All right, so like let me, I actually got a indicator there, like let me actually pull it up. All right, so I'll just take it out there. Because guys, I want to show you everything that I'm seeing here. Okay, and like you should also learn the truth of the market like that. Okay, so see, in this case we know this like accumulation is happening. All right. And you can see volume is like, the down wave volume is less than the up wave. All right, so volume is declining during the range. You can see, as it's developed, volume is descending down. When it goes up, right, comes down, volume goes down. Then when it goes up, goes up like that. Okay, so that means supply is being absorbed throughout that accumulation. Okay, now the third characteristic is that the multiple tests of support. I mean, if this is an accumulation, right, this blue line will be an like, support, right? So when the market comes around here, you see this bounce upside, right? Comes to the support, bounce upside, again comes to the support, tries to go up but didn't, comes to the next one, goes up, comes again, goes up. So you can see multiple tests of support is showing in the market live. All right, I'm not just picking up some like, historical chart and showing you there. You can apply it in real time in any market, any time frame. Okay, this is the chart of Bitcoin which is running live right now. Okay, so characteristic four is that eventually breaks out to the upside. Eventually price breaks out to the upside. You see that? It goes to the upside and then the markup phase starts there. Okay. So now the markup phase starts, and let's understand what markup phase is. Okay. So after this accumulation completes, okay, price breaks out, the uptrend begins. Okay, the uptrend begins. All right, what's happening here is that the institutions have finished buying. Now prices moves up. Okay, meaning what it's telling you is that on this, you see the multiple tests here, that's your accumulation. So first of all, we need to identify if this is an accumulation or not. Once we done that, we already did that. Okay, now the price is trying to break up. When it breaks out, that pulls back around there, and then the markup phase begins, and that's what it's telling you, the markup phase. All right, where the big moves happen, and you can see that big moves. All right, you see those big moves. How big moves are there? 10%, 10%, 7%, 8%. You see, on this, like you can deny it, guys. Like I'm showing you the concepts and application at the same time. Okay. So that means here the institutions have finished buying and now prices moves up. Okay. Now the characteristics of markup phase is that it's a sustained uptrend. Okay, here you can see the uptrend wasn't sustained, right? Market comes down, dips down. That means accumulation wasn't completed yet. Then it took again the test of those support there. You see that blue dashed line there, right? Then the market stays up on this price cycle markup phase line, right? And that's what we call the sustained uptrend. Okay. Characteristic two, market is making higher high, higher lows, right? Higher high, higher lows, right? Higher high, higher low. You can see that. Okay, so then we know that the market definitely is in markup phase. Okay, now the characteristic three is that strong volume on advances. You see this strong volume on advances, very big volume on advances, and on the pullback we have very less volume on down wave. Okay, so characteristic for normal pullbacks on support, that means, you see this normal pullbacks on all this support, that's why the market is actually going up. All right. So guys, you need to understand that like whatever I'm showing you is we are actually understanding and interpreting the institutional buyers or institutional presence in the market, the so-called smart money. All right. So moving on, we have in phase 3 we have distribution, and you can see it here. Okay. After distributing to the normal public, accumulating their position, then they starts to go down, and you can see this, you know uh, this resistance point, supply zones. All right. All right. So where institutions exit positions, so this is where the institutions are taking their profits. Okay. So after an uptrend, price stops going up. You see, price stops going up there, and then it starts going sideways. Right. Starts going sideways. What's happening is that the institutions are selling. You can see now the down wave are increasing. Right. You can see the down wave here. Let me actually just put it upside, uh, instead of volume. Okay, it just went up. All right. Yeah. Let's just put it in the down. Yeah, here. Okay. So you can see the down wave volume. This is, see, this volume here is calculated from this point to this point. It's all added to that one, and you can see a lot of institutional selling. Those purple lines are there, so there is definitely some institutional selling happening there. Okay. And you can see the waves are increasing, and the institutions are revealing themselves as institutional sellers. Okay. So institutions are selling and distributing to the public there. All right. Distribution phase. Okay. Now there's 4 characteristics that we need to identify it as a distribution. Okay. First of all is that the price in a range after uptrend. Okay. The price goes in a range after uptrend. You see, now it doesn't make any like new low or new high. It just goes in the range, right? You see, didn't make new low, didn't make new high, just goes sideways. Characteristic 2 is that volume declining during the range. Okay. So volume is basically declining during the range, meaning it's actually talking about this one. You see how volume actually, like, supply got diminished there. Then it starts to go up like that. You see, selling, very strong selling. Okay. It's talking about this volume around here, small volume. Okay. So characteristic 3 of the distribution phase is that there is going to be multiple tests of resistance, and you can see that. Okay. um, you see here there was multiple tests of resistance there, so check. Right. You can see here it did took as a support, but when it dipped down, it actually took multiple resistance there, multiple tests of resistance. All right. So check that, check that, check that, and check that, and then you have yourself a distribution phase. Okay. And what comes after the distribution phase, guys? You're right. Markdown phase. So you can see that markdown phase started right there, and the market just goes down like that. Okay. So where price falls is the start of the distribution phase. So after distribution completes, all right, after distribution completes, we have price breaks down, the downtrend begins. Come on, man. Yeah. So after distribution completes, price breaks down and the downtrend begins. That we can see that already. Okay, what's happening here is that the institutions have finished selling, basically accumulating their position for selling short, and then the now price goes down. Okay, so you can see as the institutions accumulated their sell position, when there was like couple of resistance test of that resistance, market just goes down on this is what we call markdown phase. All right, that's your phase 4. All right, so there's going to be like a lot of different characteristics for markdown phase as well, so let's look them what they are. Okay, first of all, characteristic one is that it actually sustains the downtrend. Okay, so you can see it actually sustains that downtrend, and I'm going to actually play this in replay mode so that you can understand that in in forward testing way. All right, so check that second characteristic is that it's going to make lower highs and lower lows. So you can see it's making lower lows, lower highs, right? Lower low, lower highs, lower low, lower highs. So check that second characteristic. And third characteristic is that there's going to be strong volume on declines. So you can see as the market is coming down, the volume is increasing. This strong volume. You see, very strong volume, right? Very strong volume on decline, right? So this is the third characteristic of confirming the markdown phase. Check that out as well. And the fourth characteristic is normal bounces on resistance. Okay, so so when it comes to the resistance, right, it actually only gives very normal bounce like that. Okay, yeah, you see around that. Okay, so meaning what it's trying to tell you is, suppose if this is a resistance, okay, market comes around here, there's going to be the bounce is going to be very less volume. Okay, so that's what we call pullback. Volume is going to be less on this up wave, and that's what we see there. Okay, very small up wave. All right, so this actually confirms all of the checklists for the markdown phase, and then that actually completes the flow of the market, how you can understand what the market is doing. Okay, and like let me actually, and so I actually explained you with the indicator, and this indicator helps you identify automatically phase identification that I've shown you, right? And okay, so the indicator reads the price and volume behavior and labels phases on your chart. I mean, it's not labeling yet, but you can see it. Okay, so you'll see accumulation. Okay, once this is inside this phase, accumulation, when it goes out of that, that's your markup phase. When it stays around there, that's your distribution, then markdown phase. So you can see it beautifully there. Okay, but you remember, you still need to understand why. That's what we're learning in this course. Okay, why the price is doing that, what's happening there, and what sort of different characteristics that we discussed in order to confirm if this is an accumulation phase or markup phase, or distribution or markdown phase that you can see here. So let's understand why, and I'm going to actually do some playing here so that you can see it in real time what's going on in the market and what was happening and how your intuition shifts when understanding that. Okay, so let's do that. So I'll just move it forward and you just observe what's going on here. Okay, so markdown phase is going on. All right, you can see a lot of selling there. Market came down, accumulation phase started. Okay, market starts going sideways there. Okay, it took support from this support zone. So that means institutions are accumulating their positions on the supply zone, absorbing supply, and then taking it up, buying basically on this range. Okay, they're not taking it to the upside, they're still absorbing the supply that we can see there. Now they're taking it again. Okay, on the pullback they're gonna take some again there, you see, right? So you can see the price cycle line there that's happening. Okay, you see institutional buying, then like they distributed there, came down. So you just observe. Okay, I'm just going to stop for now. Just observe what's going on in the market. Okay, yeah. So see, again, they're taking, support there, test of lot of support, test of support there. So that was a couple of characteristics. Now it goes up, then it pulls back. You know, you would have taken one trade around here, to be honest. All right, take profit around there, pulls back down. You see, so we're only taking trades around the support area. So we can take trade around there as well. All right, and then you can see market goes up there. Okay, so see, new phase started. New This is reaccumulation on that big accumulation. So market just starts goes up, going up, and it's making higher high, higher lows. You see, it's making higher highs, higher lows. You would have taken trade around here, right? Because right now it's in markup phase. Okay, so I'll just let it run. And as I do that, you can see the color of the candle changes as well, which is characterized to that. So a lot of buying is coming. You see the volume spikes on the upside, very strong volume on the up wave. Okay, so when it comes down, you see now the distribution phase starts there. Okay, and yeah, this might be the last of that. See, again, it was markup phase. So pull back on the support, take long trade. That's what I taught you in the course. Okay, so after you get this indicator, access to this indicator, you should practice with forward testing. All right, so see, now the market makes, goes to the range, then it makes lower high, lower lows. Okay, and volume increased. Here you see on the downward volume gets increased, upward volume is diminishing, right? So it's taking resistance on this resistance level, supply zone, then it's again distributing, right? So you can see the upward volume is very less, the downward volume is increasing way much further, right? Then it again go to this, went to this accumulation zone, previous accumulation zone, then it goes even further down, which was this big accumulation zone, and that's where market actually dipped down to that big support, and started going up. All right, so it might make another accumulation zone around here, and then it starts that markup phase. All right, so this is what you need to understand, guys. This is that why that I'm trying to teach you. Okay, so common mistakes that people make is that thinking it only happens at major levels. Okay, I mean, accumulation and distribution don't only happen at major tops and major bottoms. Okay, there's reaccumulation in uptrends and redistribution in downtrends as well, which we're gonna learn in module 4. And like see, as you have seen this in 4 hour, you can apply it in 5 minutes, right? Or 15 minutes. All right, you see that cycle again happening again and over again, guys. All right, and so this is that um, the truth, the trading truth that I want to teach you guys. Okay, so common mistake two is that trading during accumulation and distribution. So don't trade during these phases. Okay, like I mean, you don't need to trade around these phases. Let it like overcome. Okay, and then it starts showing sign of this like high volume, because see, guys, volume is the only thing that reveals the intention of institutional trader. Okay, so wait for the breakout, breakdown, or breakout, and then trade on the pullback. Okay, so accumulation and distributions are the preparation phase. Okay, the money is made in the markup and markdown phase. So if you had taken trade around here instead of waiting all this sideways, you would have made much more profit, in less time. You can see that, right? Uh, Here again. And then when it's like downtrending, which is markdown phase, you would have made even more profit on the downside. Okay. So another common mistakes that you guys need to understand is that not understanding the context. Okay. Is this accumulation after a downtrend or reaccumulation after an uptrend? Okay, so this is what you need to understand. See this big accumulation. So when this markup phase was going on, was this distribution really, I mean, like the price is making higher, high, higher, low, so it shouldn't be a distribution, it must be reaccumulation that I'm trying to teach you. Okay, so this is that. All right, so context matters, guys. As this is in the uptrend or like markup phase, is and it's making higher, higher lows, volume is increasing on the upside, we already know that this is going to be a redistribution that I'm going to teach you, reaccumulation that I'm going to teach you in the next module. But what I'm trying to relay this message is that like you need to understand the context in order to judge the phases of the market and take trades. Okay, so context matters, and we'll cover this in detail later. Okay, so practical application is that when looking at a chart, ask yourself, what phase am I in right now? Okay, so if the market is around here, I should asking myself, okay, market actually goes like that, makes a lot of reaccumulation, and then when it comes around here, it starts to make very high volume on the downside, and the upway volume is diminished. Okay, so this must be a distribution phase that I'm looking for. All right, and this is the phase I'm in right now. All right, so just by looking at the chart, as I'm looking at the chart, you should also look at the chart and see that what characteristics does this market shows to me. All right, and this indicator is helping you to do that. All right, so accumulation phase, wait for the breakout, then buy. Markup phase, buy the pullbacks, okay, and ride the trend. Okay, all right. Wait for the breakout, accumulation phase, then buy, right? Okay, markup phase, buy the pullbacks. You see these pullbacks, right? You see the volume on the downway was very less, right? So this is that pullback. All right, you buy and then boom. All right, distribution phase is wait for the breakdown. Okay, if this is your distribution phase, wait for the breakdown, and then buy at the test of resistance. Okay, then sell, then sell at the test of resistance that you can see already. Okay, and like you can see, and actually let me actually um, show you the institutional buyers and sellers. Okay, let's reveal their faces. All right, so as you check this off, then you can see, you know, you see this like, yeah, you see this big, hang on, let me just put it there. Yeah, you see this big seller there, purple, very high volume, guys. Market test that resistance, supply zone, and then came down. All right, so this was your entry level there, right there. Okay, distributing very high volume. See the volume got increased. Now after the pullback, you see the pullback was very less, so again you would sell, and this was your markdown phase, where you sell the bounces and ride the trend. So you sell this bounce, all right, and you ride this trend. You see this big volume coming there, so this is that, you see, sell this bounce and ride the trend. So this is the true nature of the market that I want you guys to understand and apply in your trading. Okay, so another concept that I want to discuss with you is that the price cycle, the Wyckoff price cycle, is actually, we can apply it in multi-time frame. Okay, and contextually we can actually understand it with different time frame. Okay, so different phases on different time frames. You can be in different phases on different time frames simultaneously. And let me actually show you what I mean by that. Okay, so daily chart might be in like mark of big uptrend. Okay, but 4 hour chart, there might be a reaccumulation, pause before continuing higher. So let me actually show you that. Okay, so um, as I come here, go to the setting of that, I want you to enable this, enable MTF1 plot. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna show you what the 4 hour so as we are in 4 hours, so what the daily time frame price cycle is. So if I switch to daily, you would see around this point in time right there, daily was coming down. You see, this was your markdown phase on daily, right? So as I come to 4 hour, all right, this is what we see. You see the red line, daily time frame, that was going down. So this was your redistribution. This is how you understand if this is your accumulation or distribution or reaccumulation or redistribution. All right, guys. So you need to look at the chart, because now after learning from this course, chart will tell you the truth. It will speak truth to you. Okay, once you understand how to interpret its language. All right. So see, this was very high distribution zones. Market came down. All right. This was your accumulation zone, right? When the market, it tries to go up, like you see here, market actually breaks out of this price cycle. That's why this was your, like, re-accumulation zone on 4 hour, and market goes up. But still, guys, check this out. Okay, this big distribution happened, so market comes down, right? So now again, I think it's reaccumulating right now on this big accumulation zone. So we'll see what happens. Okay. So, but you need to understand that, like, you can actually figure out if certain um, you know phases are either reaccumulation or distribution, and then again reaccumulation. You see this, like, big reaccumulation zone, market goes up like that. Okay. So always know what phase you're in on the higher time frame. Okay. So if I want to understand on the higher time frame, I can look at the chart of that, and, like, see. So this is your weekly one that's going on. This one. So on this one, this was your reaccumulation. You see, market dipped down to this big support there, right? Test of the support, then it goes up. So you can see the phases there as well. Okay. So the key takeaways from this lecture is that, let me actually apply it to 1 hour and show you guys. See, so now this price cycle is from the 4 hour that we are getting. Okay, and you see all these reaccumulation zones that's actually helping us to distribute. Okay, so this was your redistribution zone. Sorry, uh, these are your reaccumulation. Okay, so the key takeaway from this lecture, and this is a very important lecture, guys, okay, is the 4 phases of the market. First one is accumulation, where institutions are buying. Second one is your markdown phase, where uptrend starts, and the institutions are, like, taking profit, riding the trend. um, Third phase is that distribution phase, where institutions are selling. And the fourth phase is your markdown, where institutions are just, riding the trend on the downside. So your job is to identify which phase you're in and trade accordingly with that. So as I'm in 4 hour chart, as I'm in markup phase, all this reaccumulation zone, I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna trade accordingly there. Okay, and I'll teach you guys in the subsequent lecture, how to identify trade. Like, this is one of the most advanced trading course that, from beginner to advanced, explaining you guys in very simple term and logic how to trade effectively and make profit in the market. Okay, with smart money. All right, it's like we are revealing their secret, guys. So just understand it and learn it and apply it in the market. Okay. So what's next is that, in the next lecture, we're gonna understand why Wyckoff methodology works across all markets, because that's the truth. Okay, and I have actually enhanced it in more algorithmically and mathematical way, that actually it actually proves mathematically that, okay, this works. All right, like, yeah, and we don't need to look at any other method or something. just follow the mathematics and follow the money, and you're going to find success. Okay, so finding success in the market is that flow of the market that we discussed. Okay, and that flow is this market phases. Okay, and in the next lecture I'm gonna teach you why Wyckoff works across all markets, and we're gonna apply these principles in crypto, stocks, and forex. All right, so master the cycle, guys. I have actually explained you very nicely and shown you as I'm teaching you the theory, the concepts. I'm also showing you the practical, how it looks like in the real chart. Okay, so master the cycle from this lecture, and market cycle through phases continuously. Learn to identify and trade them. Okay, so that's your goal from this lecture. All right, so I hope you guys like the video and lecture. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.